My research is the first to truly document not just the presence of lower income students who are the alumni of boarding day and preparatory high schools like Andover and Exeter, Dalton and Hockaday, right? These very, very elite prep schools that cost $50,000, $55,000 a year for high school, right? So this is what they're experiencing in high school. They study abroad in high school. These students are the privileged poor. They're economically disadvantaged, but they have the educational and, equally important, the social experiences that of the 1%.
The opening of your book, you wrote, "Wealth was just always a story to me." I thought that was really interesting. You know, what also was interesting to me was the experience you spoke about entering an elite campus. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that experience is like for students, especially those who are excited about being the first in their family or those who are excited to go to a predominantly white institution?
Yeah, wealth was only a story in the sense that growing up, growing up I was a maid. And predominantly white, it's almost exclusively white families for money. And so we only got to hear about the stories when she would tell us things about what vacation they went on, what they were, what they were planning on buying. They asked her for input and different things like that. But when I got to Gulliver, it was the input that my friends were giving their families were different. It was like, oh no, you don't buy a Range Rover unless it's black. Black is the classic way to do things, right? That was some of the things that I heard parents tell their children. There's a social dynamic that you enter there's a social dynamic that you encounter at an elite institution that's highly classed. It is definitely dominated by people in the top 10, top 5, top 1% of the income distribution. You hear about Martha's Vineyard, you hear about the Hamptons, you hear about all those things that you have to deal with. But you also encounter a hidden curriculum when you enter the classroom. And what I mean by hidden curriculum is like unsaid expectations and unsaid rules that you now are supposed to follow and be an expert in navigating, but you're only experiencing for the first time.
You've categorized these students into two different groups, the privileged poor and the doubly poor.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about how you came up with this terminology and who these people are?
Yes, so my research is the first to truly document not just the presence of lower income students who are the alumni of boarding day and preparatory high schools. These students are the privileged poor. They're economically disadvantaged, but they have the educational and, equally important, the social experiences that of the 1%. The doubly disadvantaged, on the other hand, attend the schools that we expect them to attend, that we expect lower income Black and Latinx students to attend. But they have not had access to the education and social experiences that colleges really run on.
How can the doubly disadvantaged and the privileged poor come together and be this collective on campus, even though their experiences may, differ?
Yeah, so there sometimes can be moments of tension between the two groups because of that big difference in experiences. What I hope the book does do, and it's actually inspired by what students gave me, because I was at a low point in doing this book in the sense that I had the one article that I had presented was rejected 5 times before it was finally accepted. Students walked up to me after a talk that I gave, and they were having a lot of arguments in their room group. Both of them from New Jersey, but one went to boarding school, the other stayed at home. And they thought like, oh, we from the same place, we'll be able to talk to each other. And they were having a lot of problems. And these 2 young women came up to me afterwards and they said, Tony, your presentation gave us the language to understand our differences. That was the highest praise that I've received for the book to date. One of the things that can come from this is understanding how these two groups can actually have that conversation and understand why each view their college differently. But I hope that it doesn't stop there. College administrators, professors, and deans need to also understand this overlooked diversity among lower income college students, because if they don't, then they will still do the same kind of orientation programs, the same kind of policies that miss the mark.